Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot. I always love saying that. So today we're jumping in to take a look at the back half of July, where yesterday we did the overall general look at the big picture. Today we're zooming in on the soulmates. We're zooming in on the soulmate situation. So it'll be a general reading, as always, and it's not going to resonate with everybody because, as I always say, it really shouldn't resonate with everybody. It's going to be it's a general reading for this collective. So if you find that it does resonate with you, maybe you would want to subscribe and take a closer look at some of the other messages that have already come out. So we're going to start by looking at the energetic backdrop for the back half of the month, the way that we usually do. So a lot of times, though, we're looking at the energetic background for a specific time around like the moon phase of the moon, or we're looking at just the energetic backdrop that day, the mood that the energy is in. Here, though, we want to see what the energy is for the sort of the second half of July. Three of Swords. Interesting. Three of Swords in the reverse. So it feels like unbreaking your heart, but it's like you're picking yourself up from something, but I get the sense that it's very natural. It doesn't feel like you're dragging yourself up. It feels like you are being uplifted by something that's inside of you. So that's a really promising feeling. Sometimes when I see the Three of Swords in the reverse, it has different feelings that can be associated with it. I like this one. Okay, so we've got the Empress, the Hermit, the Nine of Swords. We don't. Yes, we do, and we don't have this one. Okay. I have to see if they have that glow, that bloom about them, so I know that they're part of the reading. All right, and I also want to hold them so you'll be able to see them. So the Empress, it's that feeling of not necessarily of having everything all figured out, having it all together, but that feeling of being okay with whatever level of it you have. It's very much associated with the wisdom of this Hermit card. This is wisdom that not new wisdom that you're gaining. It's wisdom that you're kind of uncovering that's already in your, it's already in your arsenal, but you may not really be thinking about some of it at this time. You're going to do you're going to do something, or something is going to happen here where you're going to end up thinking of something that you haven't thought of in a while, and it'll be like an epiphany. That's why it sticks out, because I think that's something that happens often, but this is special because it sticks out. But the difference is you're not the same person that you were when you first gathered the wisdom, so it hits a little differently. And I think it's part of what helps to lift you out of this sense of heartbreak too, but it's not without a sense of anxiety. So there's still some anxiety, but it's like excitement sort of anxiety. It does make it difficult to sleep. It does have you worrying about things, but it's worrying about something that you're kind of excited about. There's something new that's happening. There's a trip you're taking, or a job you're starting, or it's generally a positive thing. And for some of you, it's going to be very much connected with that thing that sets your soul on fire. It may be what you would consider to be that thing that sets your soul on fire. And I'm referring here to, if you're new, these readings really are very much connected. And in a lot of the previous readings, we've seen that there is something coming for you that is going to set your soul on fire. It's an opportunity that you get to take. There is some opportunity you're taking, something that you're doing, like I said, or that's happening here, but it's not without its anxiety. It's an interesting, auspicious sort of overall feeling. So it's not necessarily comfortable, kind of like what we were seeing in yesterday's reading, but not bad. It's not bad uncomfortable. It's just uncomfortable. Like, it makes you worry a little bit. There is a tendency to, okay, a couple of things here. So there's a tendency to focus on the negative, to focus on things that didn't go well. something that makes you wish that you could handle things a little bit differently, something that isn't sitting right with you, just makes you uncomfortable. And then you've got this Four of Swords over here that is again showing this healing. So this Four of Swords is kind of resonating off this Empress card for me quite a bit, because this Empress card is all about, hey, maybe I don't have it all together, but I do feel like things are a lot better. Things are a lot better than they were, you know, as far as when you when you kind of take stock of your situation and you realize, my gosh, all my ducks aren't in a row, they're kind of running all over the place. There are times when, you know, it really concerns you, and then there are times when you're like, that's okay, I've still got this. I acknowledge that my ducks are everywhere. But I I still feel like I can handle this. So there's kind of this going back and forth between this very confident, very whole feeling that is, of course, associated with this wisdom that you are uncovering. Haven't maybe thought about it in a while, but it's significant. The whole thing is bathed in this energy of the new opportunity, and so much has to do with the fact that you're going to reflect on things now with more healing having been done versus the way that you were before, before the healing happened. So something that, again, though, I still see you having a tendency to focus on the sad part of this. Um, Hopefully being aware of that will give you some opportunity to maybe take it a different direction if you happen to notice it happening. It doesn't mean you aren't gonna, that you're just gonna be able to say, that's it, I won't be sad. But I also would hope that knowing that you have this tendency may allow you to just think about what other sides of that could look like. So just putting that out there. The star card says you're moving very like an arrow toward a target. You're moving towards something that almost is just, you would consider it to be inevitable. I can't imagine you not being able to feel somewhere in here that there is a push. Like there's a push that is, it's associated with your person, and that's kind of what I'm um trying to figure out. So it's associated with your person, but will you be able to feel how associated it is? There's a new business, there's a new endeavor, there's a new job, there's something that you would be interested in doing. Now, back when the concept of this thing that was going to set your whole soul on fire, back when that first started coming up, I said that there was some sort of association with it. I used the example that maybe you write to help yourself cope with the feelings around this situation, and that when you maybe when you go to the thing that sets your soul on fire, maybe that comes in the form of writing a book. So there's an association that allows you to make a connection, even though it also allows you to put some of your energy in a different direction. But here in the second half of July, I see you doing that. And I think there's been some stops and starts with that with some of you, where maybe you've started to move. And the same thing happened with your person, but you were starting to move into a direction that would be very positive for that opportunity, but then it just sort of fizzles out. Definitely that happened with a lot of your people, where they dabbled in something new, trying to get their mind into a better place. And it was their attempt to reach out for that. They know there's something there. They know there's an opportunity that's there for them. But they haven't necessarily been able to quite grasp it the way they'd like. I get the sense that that's happened for some of you as well, but there are just as many of you that are saying, no, you know what? I haven't really found it yet. Haven't found the thing that's going to set my soul on fire. So that's, it's really for the second half of the month, though, what sticks out for me is less around that. Like, so it's all around the opportunity, but it is more focused on how much you've changed in the healing that you've gone through. There's a huge success here for you in realizing how far you've come up the mountain. So, you know, I've talked about this before too. You want to be able to always look forward and see how far you have to go. Keep your eyes on where you're headed for the most part, but every once in a while you've got to turn around and see how far you've come. Just give yourself a little bit of that perspective, and that's kind of that is going to take you far if you do that later this month, especially when you start to feel like this sense of you have the opportunity to be overwhelmed, but you're maybe not going to go that direction. So let's look to see what else you need to know about this. This is soulmate oriented, but it's like the energy that surrounds you is not. It's again that sense of the two of you feeling back to one another, um, but still very much together, just not facing one another energetically. And yet you're practically on top of each other energetically. A lot of you are telling me in the notes that you write that you you can't even close your eyes without seeing this person's energy, without feeling it come in. You know, it's very pervasive. So when we think about the rest of it, though, it's about not making, or the rest of this month, it's about not making rash decisions, not making quick, rash decisions. So the Queen of Swords in the upright is definitely capable of quick and rash decisions, cutting things out quickly, abruptly, not taking any nonsense. The Queen of Swords in the reverse is still very no nonsense in the way that it's coming out, the way that it feels. Still very no nonsense, but not making rash decisions to cut things out. Instead, saying, I'm curious to see where this is going to go. I'm willing to give it a shot and at least keep an open mind, even if things don't work out very well. So, this is somebody who's almost prepared to be triggered once in a while and going to do fine with it. Um, some of you are meeting somebody that's going to trigger you, though, because, and we've seen this in some of the previous readings as well. Whew. All right, hold on. You've got a lot coming out here that is absolutely part of this, and so is this Eight of Wands. But I'm just going to start with what we've got here. So we've got the Lover's card and the Emperor, and these two have, okay, so you have someone coming your direction that we've been seeing in some of the previous readings. We've even done a reading on this. You know, what do you need to know about this person's coming your direction? One of the things we've seen is balance within them. They've got a strong balance in their masculine energy. But the thing is that you are building a very strong balance in your masculine energy as well. So everyone's got masculine, everyone's got feminine. We see over here a nice balanced feminine energy that helps you to kind of keep things together even when things get a little bit nuts. The Emperor has that ability, that cool, that calm, cool, collected sort of feel about him as well. Of course, the Emperor is a him on the card, but it's the energy that could be within any person regardless of their gender. So, and that's something that we often say in tarot. I probably don't say it as often as I should, but you know, the concepts that you see on the cards are very genderless. They're very much just the energy of it. But this is masculine energy, that's feminine energy. We all have both. You see a lot of balance in your masculine here, as well as your feminine, which is great because we've been saying, what kind of healing can you get done before you have this person come in? We know it may be a friend, it may be something that's a little bit more romantic, or it may be something that just grows slowly. And maybe it starts out as more of a friendship, but this is something that does trigger you. So, you know, I was saying that you have this ability to handle it, to be triggered because you've done some incredible healing here. I'm not saying you're welcoming it. I'm just saying you're going to do really well with it. Your connection is returning to your higher self. You've got a decent connection with your higher self and to some degree your intuition that is really just going to reflect nicely in the second half of the month. We also have the Sun card. You're going to be drawn toward your happiness, but what I will say about this is it's got this feeling of almost like a Nine of Cups. I've got this one deck where every time the Nine of Cups comes out, it feels like you have your wishes fulfilled, but in some way that is definitely not what you were originally picturing. I get that here. I get the feeling of wishes being fulfilled, but in an unexpected sort of way. So it's really not a negative. It's just unexpected. It does seem like things happen kind of quickly at first, but overall, we know that the relationship proceeds pretty slowly. You will know, though, when you're starting to get the triggering, and you'll have the opportunity to say, I am going to go this direction, or I'm not going to go this direction. But with this Ace of Cups, there's a lot of love flowing. With this Eight of Wands, it may feel a little flooding and overwhelming for you. So one of the things that we saw when we were reading about this earlier, it has to do with, well, I guess we want this Three of Swords here. We've got the Two and Three of Swords. There's a feeling of this person is going to trigger you, but they're also going to, it's almost like you get a taste of your soulmate's medicine when you get together with this person, even if it's just a friend. There's something about it that makes you feel like it makes you nervous to be so vulnerable, and all of a sudden you're going to feel a little bit of what your soulmate, this person that you have been dealing with, a little bit of what they're feeling. Doesn't mean that you won't still be able to make with the vulnerability, just that it may be it's a decision that you have to make, that shows up here with this Two of Swords, and it's a crossroads. This one is kind of an interesting crossroads. So sometimes you run into these situations where you get to make a decision, but it is basically two roads that gets you to the same place. And one of them's a little bit longer than the other. Maybe one requires going through your lesson again, and one says, I've done this. I've made that choice. I'm going to go ahead and move to this new place more quickly. In this case, though, it feels like the path not taken, you will probably not really see again in that way. So when you get to this situation where you're feeling like you are nervous about being a little bit vulnerable, you just want to think about, just slow down. This is where things actually start to slow down, I think. And I think it's actually you creating some of that slowness. The Three of Swords here is, instead of it being sadness, so the Three of Swords can be a lot of sadness. It can be the card of heartbreak. One of the things that I would say here is that you are reminded of heartbreak and you have a brush with it, but you don't really experience it. You have every chance in the world to make things right. I definitely get that sense with this situation. And keep in mind, like we've seen, this situation is not necessarily like a long-term relationship. In some cases it may be, but it's very much somebody that's coming in that shows you, it's not necessarily, we'll have to see if this is why, but this is somebody who comes in and shows you how far you've come. And so we know this, and you've been doing some preparation to see, well, how far can I be by the time I meet them, so I don't make a bunch of big mistakes. But that you're still going to feel a little bit like you're treading some unfamiliar or uncomfortable territory. But I don't get the feeling that this is bad. And like I said, this heartbreak is not, it's not the crushing heartbreak that you've experienced with this soulmate. It's very, very different. It's more like I said, a brush with it. You have options, you have choices, you don't end up feeling the same way. You do have to decide, though, some things about yourself. This is going to cause you to go in and make some decisions about yourself, and to see exactly where you are honest with yourself and maybe where you have some work to do in that area. It's also going to challenge you to do something that's maybe a little bit outside your comfort zone, as far as things that you would do in a social situation with another person. It just kind of feels like there's something there that, not necessarily that it's bad. I'm not saying like you're going to go out and get arrested. It's more just like this feeling that things are going to feel a little bit different than they ever have before. Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it. There's something that happens here that it brings you out in a new social situation, and it has you behaving in a way that maybe you would not have expected. So when it happens, I want to hear about it. Let's see. This is kind of, like I said, what you need to look for the second half of the month, but it's the energy of this. I would not say that everything that happens here will absolutely be contained within the back half of this month. Some of it could already be underway. Here we are on the 15th. Some of it could already be underway. Some of it may already have developed. Everybody's on a little bit different of a timeline, but this is the energy that is prevalent in this collective for the back half of the month. So let's see where your focus needs to be, especially given You've been preparing for this. That looks like it's coming your direction. Looks like you've done a decent job of preparing for it with that Four of Swords in the upright. Again, with that Empress, feeling that, everything may not be perfectly sorted out, but you're going to be okay with it. Okay, so we've got the Emperor. It's a warning not to try and control too much. All right, so as you, if it's kind of resonating off of this Queen of Swords a little bit, as you move into the second half of the month, there may be a desire to want to control things, a desire to say, okay, so I understand a little bit. Let me go ahead and influence the rest of it. You are encouraged to hang back and just kind of see what else you need to see. That is what the spirit of the Queen of Swords is here. There is, we got to look a little bit more into what's happening with your soulmate and because your soulmate is bubbling beneath the surface, but cards aren't coming out. And I noticed it about halfway through this, and I was like, so this is interesting. I'm not going to try and shut it down or change the direction because I would never do that. And also because I understand that we asked what was happening in the back half of the month regarding soulmates, and this is absolutely relevant. However, there's something about your person bubbling beneath the surface, and I think we need to still look at that. So we will look at that when we get into the extended. I think we also need to see more about this new person too, because I know there's somebody in the background going, oh my gosh, no, don't tell me more about this person that I've already experienced without telling me more about this person that maybe I haven't yet, because for a lot of you, this is a brand new person coming in. But with this Emperor card, it's very much saying, easy does it. Don't try to push things. Don't try to rush things. It's a need to take things as they come and allow there to be some balance. Interesting. Those are the words that wanted to come out. We have the Four of Cups. There's a sense of disappointment, but what I'm getting here is happens somewhere right in about here when you have this choice to make. You're going to disappoint yourself with a little something that it's okay. Like, I don't think anybody knows about it, but it's all within you to say, I was just about to make a decision that I might really not have been proud of. I don't even know that you get far enough to make the decision. I think it's about realizing that you could have and that you almost did do something that you wouldn't have been able to stand by. Some sort of, with this decision, I feel like it's something that's kind of difficult to understand what to even do. So there's guidance out there for you with that, with the Hierophant. That's what I'm feeling with that. That's spiritual guidance. You don't have to go too far for it because of your High Priestess, because of your connection with your own higher self, and especially because you're going to take the time to reflect. Now, note that I said you're going to take the time to reflect. This is not necessarily time slows down and gives you an opportunity to reflect. This is you taking it. So it's got a little bit different of a feel than the Six of Swords sometimes has. All right, what came out down here? We have the Six of Pentacles. Ooh, all right. So there is the weirdest thing that's coming out with this is regret, because the Six of Pentacles is about balance and give and take, emotional give and take. Everything with your former, like the person that you have been working with. I don't want to say your former soulmate because they're still your soulmate. You're still very much bonded to them, but you've now got two in the picture, two soulmates in the picture. So the one that you have been getting the readings about, and now the one that we keep hearing about is coming in. I feel like you're getting an example of how you should be treated with this person. And it sets you up for, that's part of what triggers you. It's part of what triggers you, but it also stimulates some additional healing. And it's part of the reason that you make the right choice when this Seven of Swords comes upon you and you realize that you don't necessarily feel great about something. You're going to have the strength to do the right thing, to move in the right direction, and to do something that like when you're stuck in this Nine of Swords anxiety sort of situation like we have over here. This is that not being able to sleep at night and something's kind of keeping you up. When you get into this situation, and you will, about this, You need to be able to stand behind your decision. Otherwise, it is literally going to be, it keeps you from sleeping at night. It is also part of what impacts your happy home environment. So, happy home environment includes your entire environment. So, it's not just your house; it's your job or your whatever it is that you do in your day where you spend your time. Because I get that not everybody is working a job. I have people who listen to this that are retired, and they're like, "Well, I don't have a job, but I do a ton of volunteer work," and it really kind of it would encompass that as well. You know, it's anything that you're putting your time and your effort and your hard-earned energy into, or your hard-won energy into. You have this Five of Swords here, and this is another kind of like a warning, just letting you know there may be a lot of things come out that require a lot of things coming out require your attention. Or at least they seem to want your attention. You aren't going to be able to have enough attention for all of those, and I get the sense that that's why you create a little bit of a quiet space for yourself to figure some things out. That's also where, with this hermit, you're going to rediscover some of that wisdom, and that connection with that intuition is part of what's going to expose it for you. So this Seven of Swords that shows up over here, that this is you having a mirror. You're holding a mirror in front of yourself, and realizing that there are some things about your decision making that you may or may not completely like. But I don't know that it is something that it's a learning experience. Again, there's nothing super negative anywhere in this. The energy is generally pretty positive. So I feel like you get to this Queen of Swords in reverse energy pretty quickly, about not shutting things out and not making rash decisions. Then you just have to remember to stay there. But I definitely get the feeling that you're going to be able to do that. I think you're going to have enough of a framework between your guidance, your higher self, your own strength. You're going to have enough solid balance with your masculine and your feminine, to be able to move forward. That's what I'm feeling like with this Three of Pentacles. A little bit of reminding yourself of the right things, but then you got this super intense drive over here, that also kind of is making you want to do something new. We've got the Queen of Wands, with that is super levels of attraction and drive, and then we have the Fool seeing you jump off, and I feel like this is more latter portion of the energy, like you've got some things to work through first. You've still got to slow down time and do some reflecting over here. You've still got to take some time to kind of focus on what it is that's important to you. Maybe figure out how to take the guidance that you're receiving. But I do see you jumping into something new. It could be a new set of circumstances, but this feels very emotional. So it could be a new job, but it's a new job that you feel very emotional about. Could be something that sets your soul on fire. Also seems very connected to that soulmate you've been getting readings about. That's the one with that kind of twin flame sort of element to it. I don't know that this one has that element to it. So we're going to go into the extended, and we're going to ask about both of them. We're going to check into your soulmate with the big bond that you've been getting readings about. And then we're also going to check into this new person that's coming your direction. And maybe learn a little bit more about what you're doing as you move into wanting to jump into something new, because it's a really powerful feeling, but it feels like you ramp up to it and it's almost well thought out. I don't see the King of Swords energy here saying, wow, you actually really think this through. It's more it's implied, though. I feel like that energy is still there. So we'll see what happens when we get into the extended, get a little bit deeper into this. So, and this is what's happening in the next couple of weeks. This is the rest of July. So I can't wait to see these readings. So I'll either see you in the extended, link will be down below, or I'll see you tomorrow.